What if the very move meant to secure your safety actually cost you the last fragments of trust you had left? That's exactly what Prince Harry is facing right now. His high-profile BBC interview, framed as a heartfelt plea for security and transparency, is being called one of the biggest backfires in royal media history. For weeks, Harry has pushed hard, demanding taxpayer-funded protection and pressing for open updates on King Charles's health. But instead of gaining sympathy, this gamble may have torched fragile bridges with the palace and triggered public outrage. The royal family, known for its ironclad privacy, now sees Harry's actions as reckless. And the people footing the bill, they're angrier than ever. Today we're breaking down the drama, what Harry really wanted, how it went so wrong, and why insiders say this was a desperate PR stunt that exposed far more than it protected. Welcome back to the channel where we separate palace facts from royal fiction. Stay tuned because what you're about to hear will change how you see Harry's latest gamble forever. To understand why Harry's BBC appearance sparked such fury, we need to look at the backdrop. Since stepping down as a working royal in 2020, Harry has fought a bitter legal battle with the UK government over his security detail. He insists that returning to Britain without full police protection places his family in danger, while officials argue that taxpayer-funded security should be reserved for working royals only. At the same time, King Charles's health has become a sensitive issue. With the monarch recently facing medical challenges, Buckingham Palace has offered carefully measured updates. Harry's push for more disclosure struck a nerve, as the royals have always considered health matters deeply private. By merging these two battles, personal security and royal transparency, Harry gambled on winning public sympathy. Instead, critics argue he forced a constitutional institution into a media spectacle. The BBC, once trusted for balance, now faces accusations of amplifying Harry's narrative without scrutiny. What do you think? Was Harry justified in pushing for security and health updates, or did he cross a royal red line? At the center of this controversy lies Harry's BBC interview, what many royal commentators are calling a weaponized broadcast. Harry didn't just ask for security, he painted a picture of a man forced into exile by an uncaring system, one that he claims refuses to protect him, despite ongoing threats. He framed it as a matter of principle, insisting that safety should not depend on whether he is a working royal or not. But the revelation isn't what Harry said, it's how it backfired. Reports suggest that his attempt to pressure the palace and the Home Office publicly has only hardened their stance. Legal experts note that the Home Office has already spent millions fighting Harry's demands in court, and his BBC campaign makes it harder for officials to appear impartial. One insider put it bluntly: he's tried to strong-arm the system through public opinion, and it's only entrenched opposition. Even more damaging was the way Harry wove in King Charles's health. By suggesting that the public deserved more detailed updates about his father's condition, Harry appeared to undermine one of the monarchy's oldest traditions, protecting the sovereign's privacy. Royal aides were reportedly stunned, seeing the move as a betrayal of family trust. The BBC itself hasn't escaped criticism either. Observers noted that the program largely echoed Harry's narrative without fact-checking key claims, such as the scale of threats he faces or the cost of security. This has fueled accusations that the broadcaster allowed itself to become a stage for a one-sided campaign. The result, instead of rallying sympathy, Harry may have achieved the opposite. Public opinion polls taken after the broadcast show a dip in support for his security demands, with taxpayers balking at the idea of footing the bill for someone who voluntarily left royal duty. Palace insiders say the damage is deeper. This public pressure campaign could mark the final collapse of any lingering trust between Harry and the institution he once represented. Imagine risking it all: family ties, public goodwill, even legal credibility, only to watch the strategy explode in your face. That's the crossroads Harry faces today. When we strip back the emotion and look at the mechanics of Harry's move, the cause and effect chain becomes stark. By choosing a high-profile BBC platform, Harry aimed to frame his personal fight as a matter of public interest. His logic was clear if the audience empathized with his safety concerns and demanded more transparency about King Charles's health, then both the government and the palace would feel pressured to bend. But this strategy overlooked a crucial factor: the British public's sensitivity to fairness. Too many Harry abandoned royal duties, pursued lucrative media deals, and then turned back to ask taxpayers to cover his protection. That contradiction undermines his credibility. Economically, the Home Office has already spent millions fighting his appeals in court, and public funding for additional security would likely cost millions more each year. For a nation under financial strain, the optics are disastrous. Socially, Harry's actions risk alienating the very base of sympathy he once had. The younger generation admired his independence, but dragging King Charles's private health into the spotlight feels opportunistic. Older generations, fiercely protective of royal traditions, see it as an unforgivable breach. Across demographics, the consensus is shifting from empathy to frustration. Politically, this has broader implications. If Harry were granted taxpayer-funded security, it could set a precedent for other non-working royals or former officials to demand similar treatment. That opens a constitutional can of worms, blurring the line between public duty and private privilege. The palace, already balancing delicate public trust, cannot afford such erosion. What's most striking is how Harry miscalculated his leverage. By going public, he believed visibility would be his strength. Instead, it exposed the weakness of his case. The palace is now more determined than ever to protect its privacy, and the government cannot be seen as yielding to media pressure. In effect, Harry boxed himself in forcing institutions to resist him more fiercely than they might have behind closed doors. If Harry's public gambit has backfired this badly, what lessons can we learn from history about royals who tested the boundaries of tradition and public patience? History shows us that Harry's predicament isn't unique. Royals who step outside the institution's carefully managed boundaries often find themselves isolated. Think of Edward VI, whose abdication in 1936 over love and duty left scars on the monarchy for decades. His attempts to justify choices through the media only deepen public mistrust. Similarly, Princess Diana's candid interviews in the 1990s won sympathy, but also fractured her bond with the palace, reshaping her public role forever. Globally, royal families in Spain, Japan, and the Middle East all fiercely guard health and security matters, knowing that transparency on these fronts can erode mystique and invite scrutiny. By pushing for openness, Harry risks not just alienation from his own family, but undermining a tradition that monarchies worldwide consider essential to survival. What makes this moment emotionally charged is the cultural collision between Harry's California openness and Britain's centuries-old code of silence. The result is a clash that resonates far beyond palace walls, raising questions about whether modern royals can ever truly break free without breaking the very institution itself. The haunting truth: Harry may have won headlines, but he's losing the one thing money and fame can't buy back: trust. Prince Harry's BBC interview was meant to be a turning point, a chance to frame his struggle for security and transparency as noble. Instead, it has become a case study in miscalculation. By tying taxpayer protection to royal health disclosure, Harry crossed a line that few in Britain are willing to tolerate. What he gained in publicity, he lost in credibility, and the palace now views him with even deeper suspicion. The takeaway is simple in the monarchy: trust is currency. Once spent recklessly, it is nearly impossible to regain. Harry's gamble shows how quickly sympathy can evaporate when private battles are dragged into the public arena. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Harry was right to go public, or did he take a reckless gamble that cost him too much? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'll be reading them all. And if you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to subscribe for more royal insights. Coming up next to the hidden strategies the palace uses to control royal narratives, you won't want to miss it. Thousands are already joining the discussion, don't be left out.